actually found they tend to not be quite as speedy, maybe, as the as the full-on minerals, right? But they get places that they don't get.
Do they kind of work on the outer layers of your aura, sort of thing, not just not on the physical, not just the physical?
Yeah, they go on all layers, all layers. Whereas the physical is going to work on the physical. So if you're getting a supplement like this, it's going to work on the physical. It's going to have an effect on the other layers. But if you get a homeopathic version of something, it's going to go the whole layers all in one go.
If you've got somebody with low prana levels, you said that homeopathic
homeopathic 6 will probably be okay.
Right. Okay.
Right, but what you can't do is hit somebody with high potency. 6 is body level.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're unsure, then you choose a way to deliver that mineral that is probably liquid form or something that the person can ingest. Because if their prana is very low, it's likely that their whole digestive system is a little bit depressed anyway. So what's going in has got to go in that's not going to create more work for the body. So you're looking at liquid stuff going in. So therefore you're looking at the people from Newton Abbott mineral test kits, or you're looking for Biocare do some liquid mineral and vitamin formats that can be quite useful, and things like Floridix and
my daughter was anorexic, that's all we could get in.
Yeah. See, the nice thing about Floridix, it's all vegetables or fruit, it's all plants.
Yeah,
so you haven't got anything that's a chemical format.
A good homeopath, you mentioned one, and I couldn't online homeopath. Who did you say?
Oh, you mean homeopathic pharmacy?
Yes, pharmacy.
No, there's the nearest one is the Galen.
Oh yes, I've heard of Galen.
And the Galens are near Dorchester, just the other side from here of Dorchester.
I bought some stuff and they delivered it. They went out that day.
They're very good, yeah. And the nice thing about their stuff is it's hand succussed. And the tablets, you don't have to crunch them, they dissolve in the mouth, so they're very, very good for children. They're very, very traditional homeopath.
How do you spell them?
Galen.
Galen.
The Galen.
These often have lactose in them, don't they? You have to be quite...
Well, if you've got someone who's lactose intolerant, then ask them for the liquid form.
Do all homeopathic tablets have lactose?
No, sometimes there's sucrose. There can be sucrose.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can always ask them.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, they don't have a website, Galen. But I have Galen homeopathics. I've used them for nearly 40 years. If you need to ask somebody a question, 01305 263 996. If you want to ask somebody a question, that's the phone number. If you know what you want, and you know exactly how you want it, how much you want and how you want it, you can phone the same code and you leave a message for them. And it's like Zara says, it quite often comes out the same day, unless it's a very unusual one, or it's very high potency, and it may take a few more days for them to cut it up. But they're the closest homeopathic pharmacy we've got. There's only 5 in the country, and I think they're the top.
Ainsworth.
Yes, Ainsworth. Yes, well, they would be closest then. Yeah. But yes, the Galen's the closest here. But Ainsworth's tablets tend to be the ones you have to crunch. Those are the ones you suck.
Oh, I've got liquids for my cat.
They're
very good, actually. They gave me advice on
Yes, they're very good. Yeah.
With regards to homeopathic stuff, can you tell me how you're supposed to take it? Because aren't you supposed to put them under your tongue, and you're not supposed to have them around toothpaste? There's a few things that I don't really know.
Well, some of it varies depending on the homeopath you talk to. So there's a belief issue here. By and large, it's good to take them on a clean mouth. Okay. If they come in the crunch variety, then you're going to have to crunch them up. And it's best to let them in the mouth. Yeah, and if they're the dissolved variety, they can. Of course, if they come as drops, you put them in your mouth anyway.
Anywhere in your mouth, or does it have to be under the tongue?
No.
Okay, anyway.
It's probably more sensitive under the tongue, but I mean, the thing is, if you're dealing with animals or dealing with kids, I mean, dealing with plants, I mean, where do you find, you know, as far as that's concerned. As far as the thing of the coffee, toothpaste and other things, it depends a little bit on the homeopath. Some homeopaths say no peppermint toothpaste, no coffee, no nothing. Others will say as long as you don't take the homeopathics around the same time, that's fine. It really depends on their thinking, which is interesting.
So is it a training thing? They're all going to be trained in that school that way?
It really depends, yeah, and how they found by experience whether it actually makes any difference. What you find is the homeopathic remedy, if you pick the bottle up like that, if it's the right one, you got it. You don't have to put it in your mouth.
So you can start having effects immediately, can't it?
You can feel it.
Yeah.
I used to find I get it to that point and I'd know whether it was the right one or not, because you can feel the body either going yes, or get that thing away from me fast. Yeah, because they're energy. You know, so yes, it's one of those things that. Must admit, if you've taken the wrong homeopathic and you know you have, if you're self-medicated, then a very, very strong black cup of coffee will knock it dead.
All right, so then you'd want to take it.
But then you'd want to take, you need the espresso, but it will knock it dead.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it will knock it the other way. But then on the other hand, if you give homeopathic to a teenager who doesn't believe in homeopathics and they know you've given it to them, they block it anyway. So, you know, I mean, it's a very interesting area, that part of it.
The kind of intention part as well, which comes
yeah,
into play.
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But the higher, that's when the higher the potency, the less choice the body has to react. So that's why these are coming in at potency 6, which is the closest is the potencies below that.
What potencies, do they come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way up to a certain level?
No, they tend, well, in Joe Blogg's terms, you tend to get 6, you tend to get 30. Those you can usually buy off the shelf. If you're starting to get higher than that, then you are getting into the land of therapeutics seriously. You're getting out of Joe Blogg's land and getting into serious energy shifting land. You can the higher end, you can go up to the 2 millionth, 100,000, whatever. The other end, you can actually get some of these if you ask the pharmacy, like a flower essence type thing, because you know flower essences, when they're made, there's been no succussion. Because the succussion...
What does succussion mean?
The succussion is when you dilute it and then you tap it like this, and you probably tap it several thousand times. What that does is it energizes, it creates a very yang thing, okay? And that's how homeopathics are created, right? So they're very, very, when they're a high potency, in other words, they're 200,000, whatever, they've been succussed and diluted and succussed, and they're actually very strong on fine levels. Whereas flower essences, they're not succussed, and they just come in at straight dilution. So they're literally at the same energy level as the human being. So homeopathic potency, you can get, like this is potency 6, you could get potency 1.
Okay.
You can ask for that. Then I think they're usually called L1s when they're that low. And they would act like in a flower essence sort of way. So much more akin to the energy of the human body. But it's like the higher the potency, the more the body has to work to match the energy of the homeopathic and to transform itself into a healing mode. And that's when people with low prana have really bad problems.
Either they will they block it, or they'll...
No, they won't block it, they'll just make the mill. They'll just make the mill because they won't be able to match and exceed the level of the homeopathic energy.
So is that the sort of healing crisis if you've got one you've taken one that's too high for you?
No, if you've taken the right one, you're still likely to get healing crisis, but your body will flip the healing crisis into healing mode.
Okay.
Whereas if you get a healing crisis and the body's not able to because it doesn't have enough prana, then you think, then it's it becomes a bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Because mostly when you think of healing crisis, you're thinking of something that it brings all the symptoms out and then it ameliorates and it passes.
Yeah.
It's when it doesn't ameliorate, and that tends to be when people have got very low prana. See, it's a very different sort of energy thing than when you're dealing with, sort of biocare, Solgar supplementation, when you're just literally dealing with chemicals of some nature, be they biochemicals, phytochemicals, or sometimes depending on who's made them, whether they're actually just chemicals mixed out in a laboratory. Yeah, and so that has got a tendency to be much more active for the human being in a slightly different way. I think it'd be probably fair to say for most people these days, a little bit of supplementation doesn't do any harm at all. We probably do need it.
I was thinking about that
because our food just doesn't have the same oomph that it had 30 years ago.
But also, if you think about it, so around here we're on selenium.
Yeah, well, because of the land.
Yeah.
The land's low in selenium.
If you go into Tesco's or Sainsbury's or whoever, food will be coming from somewhere else.
Yes.
We know that they're buying up land or have bought up huge tracts of land in Ukraine and Russia.
Yes.
So you don't know the quality of the soil it's coming from.
And similarly, like already, greens coming in from Kenya, Peru, and all that. So we don't know what that
soil has.
Yeah.
So to say, have broccoli because it's got X. You don't know
You're
the
not
soil
quite
it's
sure.
grown in.
Well, of course, this comes down to the same old thing, which is what the whole argument about herbs and things that the traditional herbal medicines directive said, is that how do we know in each crop what's in each crop? But the point is we don't know exactly what's in each crop, because every year, even on the same piece of land, the growing conditions are a bit different. So of course you're not going to know how much minerals, how much vitamins, how much of this chemical or that chemical is in the vegetable that you've got anyway, even if you grow it in your own back garden.
I never knew that. I kind of thought broccoli equaled calcium, or high levels of calcium. I didn't realise that
Yeah.
it wasn't where it was grown.
It's going to depend on where it's grown, because like we said around here, the land here is very, very low in selenium, and all the farmers give their sheep in it.
Selenium.
Right, yeah. And I had a farmer when I first started from down the road there, and he came and I tested him and he was saying selenium. He said, "Oh, blow me, I give it to my sheep. I never thought I needed it. I always have my vegetables that I grow out in my garden, moments."
What is selenium? Is it a sort of salt?
It's a metal,
A metal.
but it's an antioxidant. It's one of those that mops up all the nasty stuff in the body. So selenium ACE, which is one of the mixes you can buy, is selenium with vitamin A, vitamin C and vitamin E. And the four of those are very powerful antioxidants. And so they mop up the damaged cells and whatever from the body.
So you could say, as a general rule, very general, very broad, that pretty much Devon people eating local produce could probably
Need some selenium.
I never.
Yeah, but then the farmers know that, and it's interesting that...
Yeah, Hugh gives us sheep, but they've all been dying, having to go down to the vet, find out, they're deficient in selenium, give them a tub of selenium stuff, and it's not funny.
Yeah, you just don't think that. Like I said, it's the chat down the road.
Thorns growing all their vegetables around us, we're going all down to local supermarkets, therefore...
Yeah, and this is the thing, is that we don't... So the fact is we probably all could do with some supplementation, but we don't need it necessarily across the board. But we need a way of tailoring for the person in front of us. And the only real way you can do that, you can talk high level for donkey, but in the end you need to muscle test them, or you need to dabs for what they want.
Or, like you said with those liquid ones, the taste one.
The taste ones, or you use a mineral test kit from Newton, where if it tastes sweet, that they need it. If it tastes awful, they don't. You missed that one. I brought my test kits in last time. I'm going to play. And that is self-regulating. And also, the nice thing about their system is it keeps the different minerals in balance as well. So it's actually quite a nifty system. And quite a nice one to use. And of course, because it's liquid, it doesn't matter what state the person's in, they will be able to absorb the mineral. It doesn't matter if they're low in prana or whatever, they will be able to absorb it.
I think you gave me a test kit or something. I looked at it and thought it was for bloods. I didn't...
It gave you blood test kit.
Oh, it was a blood test kit, yeah.
I had some loafing around at home that I'd had for quite some time. So I said to you, they were...
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what's this thing, the Newton thing that...
it's mineral test kits. It's actually on page 8.
Okay.
Yes, I brought them in last time and we had a bit of a play.
Yeah, they were fun.
It was fun, yeah. And it's not actually too expensive because they last you donks.
Mm.
I mean, when Simon and I go out to Japan, we always take the iodine one with us. Because, you know, with Fukushima and all that, and iodine, blah, 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 that's the easiest way to protect the thyroid.
You could say you need it if you eat fish.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this is another reason why. This is why, all right, the government might say you don't need for supplementation, but you can suddenly think, well, actually, there's quite a few reasons why actually maybe we do. Like I say, it depends where the food's grown, depends where the food's been fished, depends how, you know, if you're eating meaty stuff, is how the meat's been farmed. You know, is it free range? And even if it's free range, is it free range round here? In which case, it's still going to be lacking in selenium. You know.
And what type of free range as well?
Well, exactly. You know, so it's like it gets to the point that it is actually good, but the thing is, you've got the skills that you need to double check through now or muscle testing what the person needs and for how long they need it. You know, especially if you get the dose right, say on a teenager with smelly feet and sweaty armpits, really bad. You might only find that they probably need a decent amount of zinc for maybe a week and a bit. And then it would be something that you'd have to maintenance after that.
Keep an eye on it.
And like with somebody with zinc spots, you'll find that, you know, if you supplement for 12, because they grow out, you can actually see. I mean, I haven't had them at all since menopause, but I used to regularly have a little spot, certain time of month. And you get the whole little lines as they grew out of the nail.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and as things kicked in, the zinc would disappear, so you don't, that's another one. Then, of course, you see, as a kinesiologist, you look at, okay, which finger's it on? Oh, the large intestine. Which finger? You'll be thinking, oh, it's that meridian's gone. You know, because you can tell what's going on.
That's funny, actually, because I keep burning myself around here, and I was wondering,
Large intestine.
mental at the moment, large intestine, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah.
You know, it's things like that when you start reminding.
If you're not getting the message properly.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like it becomes quite an interesting observation process.
So, 12 years from now, you'll be doing the washing, and it'll be Ed's socks, right?
Going zinc!
Yeah, zinc.
No, it'll be the trainers is the key.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I can remember my brothers, because I'm a lot older than my brothers and sisters, and when my kids were small, they used to come to stay, and my two brothers went to the services, and so the first few years when they were in, they'd come and stay in the summer, and oh God, they had to put their trainers outside the back door. It was so hard.
My brother-in-law used to be like that.
And of course, the one thing they don't do when they're in the services doing all this sort of whatever is really look after their diet. And of course, you know, and they come in with braces that won't heal, and I'd be dosing them up with vitamin B and something else to help their bodies heal. So the thing is with supplementation, it can be as straightforward as that. You don't have to remember stuff. As long as you have a list, which you've got, or you make your own list or whatever, and you can dose or muscle test what is appropriate for that person and for how long. And also in what form. Because there are different forms. And it might even be that it may be that they just need to eat a certain food for a little bit longer. Yeah. Like, for example, I mean, pumpkin seeds and sesame seeds are very, very rich in the minerals, and zinc and things in particular. And so it may actually be that, you know, just need to eat a little, or need to eat some of that for a while, and that will naturally rebalance them. It really depends. Then you're back to actually what the person likes to eat. So it's no good saying pumpkin seeds if they absolutely hate them. Damn things, you know. It's no good making it so difficult for people that they feel that they are being put upon and they're sacrificing something. You have to make it. Sounds awful. You have to make it as easy as possible to begin to break habits. You know, and even remembering to take a, you know, vitamin mineral supplement. That can be a big thing.
On the list, it's for several of them. For example, vitamin B6. It's got fortified cereals. So that's not a whole food, is it?
No, fortified cereals are cereal where somebody has added And that's the sort of thing where you think, actually, it's not a whole food.
But would it still be an acceptable way to get that particular...
You'd have to check for that person whether that person would absorb that B in that form. It may be that they don't.
Or it may be the only way that they're going to get
And
it.
it may be, I'd say, in terms of their lifestyle, it may be the only way they're going to get it.
Good point.
You see, this is the thing, is it is like you can have what you know how it should be, but then you have to add to that a serious dose of reality of where your client is. And although it's better to get things, if possible, from food state, and companies like Cytopan, I haven't got their stuff with me, but there's another vitamin and mineral company, their stuff mostly is food state. It comes directly from foods. So their stuff, sometimes people find, if they're, especially if transcribed, is quite good. But it's like with a lot of these companies that are particularly good, compared with what you would pay in the high street, they're a little bit more expensive to buy supplementation. Whereas if you get from Mr. H and B, you know, you're getting a really mass company being able to actually produce stuff. Having said that, I mean, some people it's going to be fine. So sometimes it's quite a good idea to, you know, to have a choice of a couple of, you know, once you find out it's whatever, and you just douse or not test. Right, okay, you know, can I send them to Boots or Holland and Barrett for this?
And that's a cheaper option.
That's a cheaper option of doing it, as if not as okay, what's best. And what I found, some things, people's bodies like Lambert, some people's bodies like Biocare, and some people's bodies like Cytoplan, or some of the other, or some people's bodies just want homeopathic, thank you very much, and I'm okay because my body works well with those. You know, and I don't think you should necessarily have to remember everything. I mean, under your colour codes that you've got in the earlier, I've given you the colour codings, and the colour codings are in here as well. So again, you can in here last time. They've been last time I gave you it was last time I gave you the colour codings of these, where you'll find that by and large most minerals are red. Some minerals like zinc are orange. Vitamin C is orange, and most of the other vitamins tend, and of course B12 is red. Most of the other vitamins tend to be yellow.
Is vitamin C only orange, or would it be orange-yellow?
It's orange-yellow.
Okay.
It's like vitamin E is also sort of orange-yellow.
Okay.
You know, but they all fall within those categories. You know, so I mean, if you do remember, you can read by colour. You know, do I need orange? Do I need yellow? But it's an easier way to remember them than to do them flat. I mean, another interesting thing, and I've seen it done this way, is, for example, someone going travelling needing magnesium and actually going off with a crystal. That's a magnesium crystal.
You mentioned that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's in a crystal in the pocket. You know, similarly with iron, pyrites and something like that. You know, it's like as soon as you can touch into the energy thing, you realise that you've got access to a lot.
It's so funny because I've been brewing on this for a while, thinking I want to bring in crystals and nutrition, and it suddenly came in like, there are minerals in the crystals. I'm sure you could make a crystal layout well according to what the body needs. And
but this also, as well, is how do you think that we crystal author writer things work out what crystals do?
Ah.
So it's not just divine kind of connection.
Well,
and it's exactly a bit of actually.
However, for others who are more grounded, shall we say?
There is a bit of actual fun.
It's a lot of actual. Let's look at the chemical formula. Let's see what's in it.
Well, that's good. a good bit of.
And that is in the back of your directory of crystals that came with your ICGT1. There's a list there that this is what the minerals do. and it's in there.
Right, I'll have
Had you forgotten that then?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important because it's like when people say, well, why does kunzite work at the throat?
Maybe I didn't forget it. Maybe it went in at a very subconscious
Yeah.
level, and I thought I came up with this new idea.
No, it wasn't my idea at all. It's why does kunzite work at the throat? Why is kunzite very, very good for depression? It's because kunzite's got lithium in it. Okay. What's lithium used for in pharmacy?
Depression.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not all magic, is it?
It's not.
It's quite a lot of scientific.
Well, in fact, you'll find that that is basically what magic is. It's just that some people haven't looked far enough down the logical route to realise that it's there. Because magic is what it seems to be if you're looking from one point of view.
And you've made the shortcut and you haven't studied
You
with doctors 7 years and managed to muscle test.
You haven't actually realised that the reason that, certainly in ICGT, we give you the chemical formula, it's not just to be an awkward pain in the arse.
Well, it's interesting which crystal books give you the chemical formula.
And which ones
don't.
Yes, that is, yeah.
Yes, and which sellers on the internet give you the crystal formula and which don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because the chemical formula, the metals and some of the non-metals in that formula will tell you a lot about how it works.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the colour gives you the rest of the information.
And the colour, yeah.
The eyewitness book on geology, rocks, minerals, it's got it all in there.
Yeah, well, in ours, like in the directory,
Yeah.
we give
Yeah.
it all. Yeah.
I thought I was hitting on something new then.
It's on the
It's
CD.
not.
I should have had a CD and it's on the CD.
Oh, what were the ones from here?
Yeah, that directory.
Okay,
directory,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was thinking like when I'm qualified as kinesiologist, I'm going to bring in my
but the
crystals and my nutrition
Yeah, but the
and
point is,
it
you've
all
already
comes
got
together.
it. You've
Yeah.
already got it.
Just need to get it.
And all it is, and this is partially what this has been, it's been joining up the nutrition with the chakras, with the colour, you know, and then actually...
But you probably will, and you'll be doing it in your way.
But
Yes.
you'll do it in your
Yeah.
way, but you'll realise that it's actually, they're not actually separate thingies, it's just
No.
that you just have to find your way.
You find the link. Now it's kind of, I understand the link now.
Yeah. And it's like when you have a skill like kinesiology or dowsing, you've got the way to find your way around. You've got the route map.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need to have studied this because you've got there. You just don't know why you've got there.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
then you look back is to see, well, you know, it's quite often that happens. Is why did that come up?
Yeah.
And then you think, well, actually, totally logical. Totally logical. It's
But
just
you have
that,
studied it and you've got the clarity of concept in your body.
yeah,
Yes.
your body understands that it's just another facet of the same thing.
I think my mind is actually doing a bit of catch up on what my body knows for change rather than it being the other way around,
Yeah.
which is quite nice.
If you've been unwell, it takes a while for you
Yeah, it does.
process
Yeah, to
come back
catch up. Yeah.
But it's also, it's when you realise that you can treat it as a holistic thingy, is that you can see why people have pulled bits of it out and made it its own little specialised thing on its own. And actually, that's not helpful. It's better to see it as a shared whole, because then it's easy to find a way around. And you understand people's bodies a lot more. Because, you know, even if you ask people what their favourite foods are, you know, it's going to tell you a lot from its nutritional value, from its colours, you know, from the chakras, those colours. You can go interesting places when people start doing stuff like that. And then you get to the point that they won't tell you what their favourite anything is, because they know that you're going to then suss them out.